An absolutely ridiculous day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast has absolutely bungled the Aetherdrift Prerelease, leading to a massive amount of discontent. On top of that, they have the insane plan to create a new Magic movie and television show. And no, I'm not talking about the Netflix one, that's still in development as well.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another nutty installment of Mega Magic News. We totally have to talk about the movie they're going to do and the Aetherdrift bungling. There are actually a number of other news items on the list, but for anybody who likes the old school Chandelar Magic the Gathering computer game, guess what? I have launched a new series over on my live stream channel that just started today. So if you've been pining for the old school Magic the Gathering gameplay and having good times that way, I will leave a link for that down in the description and pinned in the top comment so you can go enjoy that. Now, let's move in to the absolute ridiculousness. Let's start out talking about Aetherdrift and how poorly the pre-release situation has gone. I went to multiple pre-releases this weekend and have taken a look at the experiences of other people from different locations, and it seems pretty universal that Aetherdrift was a hastily put together set. Actually, if you go and look at Mark Rosewater talking about the design of the set, it's pretty clear from what he's saying that they slapped it together as fast as they could. And you can tell from the disparate elements. So you have a number of issues that happened at the pre-release, both with the quality of product and the quality of the gameplay as well. And I mean, when you're messing with the gameplay, that's where you run into big problems. Apparently, there are a lot of people who will accept quality issues to a degree. For example, I was playing at the pre-release with my buddy. We were both cracking our pre-release kits, and I was avidly waiting because he hadn't really seen the set. So I wanted to watch him open his boosters, right? I wanted to see his reaction as he saw the names and art on the card and just watch him go, what is this? But on top of that, I watched him literally stop and start feeling the cards and going, he's just giving me this quizzical look. It's like, yeah, no, they feel like sandpaper. Yes, you can feel the quality issues. Yes, the foil. He opened his foil promo and it instantaneously started warping. It literally was just starting to curl in his hand. He's like, look at this. Look at this. On top of that, there was a bunch of insanely washed out black cards in my kit. The quality level on these cards is absolutely atrocious, and Wizards has no excuse for this. Literally every other card game that exists, with maybe the exception of Yu-Gi-Oh, has better card quality. Yu-Gi-Oh card quality is wild. That is like what you would get in cereal boxes. Just complete garbage. But every other game under the sun beats Wizards by a mile when it comes to card quality, and they charge such exorbitant prices, there's literally no excuse for it. So you have the genuine quality issues with the actual pre-release stuff, and actually speaking of the quality issues, check out the finish line dice. There are multiple people complaining about the spin down that you get in the finish line bundle, and if you take a look at the art that's up on the screen, I should say the picture, it's not art, it's an actual picture, it literally shows the level of damage. This is the special bundle that you've purchased and paid extra money for, and Wizards has put no care into it. It looks like they found a way to make the dice cheaper. If it's not obvious from looking at it, what happened with previous spin down dice is they essentially have the numbers carved into the dice, and then they fill in those carved out parts with paint. So you look at it and go, wow, I can see the numbers. But this die appears to be purely just flat faces with something stamped on it. And you get this abysmal result, which ultimately does not work very well at all with the checkered flag scenario. So the quality issues that we're seeing are widespread. Actually, speaking of quality, that reminds me, Mystery Boosters 2, there are pictures out there of people showing, yo, my cards came glued together. Wizards of the Coast is bungling it on multiple levels with the quality. Now, turning to the gameplay at the pre-release, if you were there, you will understand how abysmal this set is for limited, specifically from the perspective of a sealed pool. Not a draft, a sealed pool, 6 packs, you get what you get. The number of people who are just sitting there going, I've just got a bunch of vehicles that I can't do anything with. I literally got to put out a Chandra and just boop, 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 move her upwards in ultimate because my opponent just sat there going, all I got is vehicles. I'm like, you got 3 things that look like creatures on the board. Can't get any of them rolling. And I found that the vehicle to creature ratio on this is absolutely completely wonked, right? Now, if you're playing in a draft, you might stand a chance of actually getting the right mix because you can try and pick and choose. But ultimately, Aetherdrift seems like a massive failure from a limited perspective. Obviously, when we get further down the road and get to see more drafts, we'll actually know 100% what's going on with the vroom vroom beep beep action. But Wizards of the Coast clearly just wanted to focus on getting as many vehicles as they could into the set. And if you go and actually take a look at what Rosewater was talking about in terms of the design of the set, they had an ungodly amount of vehicles in this set. And clearly that just carried over. But you need people to actually drive them and be in your race. Yes, you can have a race with race cars, but you need the drivers. And so many vehicles have this: do X, the vehicle turns into a creature, and then you can get it rolling down the road. But ultimately, that barely made any difference. And you sit there in ridiculous scenarios where you're like, okay, buddy gets in this car, and then that car starts up this car, and then that car starts up this car. Like, that is literally the nonsense that was going on at the pre-release. So ultimately, Wizards really did fail to deliver something reasonable in that regard. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about something they actually did pretty well. It's a little bit not to my taste, but I'm going to acknowledge success where it exists. They put out a video called Lo-Fi Beats to Drift To. And this is an hour-long YouTube video of lo-fi beats. If you don't know, that's just basically a genre on YouTube. There's like lo-fi beats to study to, lo-fi beats to cry about the state of magic to. Whatever you want, you find a lo-fi for it. So this is an hour of unique music that they had specifically created. And then on top of that, they have an actual panoramic view of the different worlds of Kaladesh, Muraganda, and Amonkhet, right? And they have you driving through it. So I didn't really care for the motorcycle that Chandra was riding with loot on the front. That part to me is objectionable from a flavor standpoint. But recognizing that they actually made something with some really nice chill tunes, seeing the background, the worlds actually kind of come to life as you pass through them is a sweet concept. So I will acknowledge success in that regard. Now, if you haven't heard what's going on with the secret layers, remember how the bonus cards for the longest time were random elves? We're now moving into the zombie era, where if you get secret layers, there's a very good chance you're going to get random zombie cards. So some secret layers will have a special specific bonus card that you can get. So the Mystery Booster secret layer one that came along with the festival in a box kind of setup was 7 dwarves, if I'm not mistaken, or you would get zombies. So that is something new that's going on. And there's been a little teaser on the Secret Layer Chaos site saying that Orcish Lumberjack is coming. And it's such a random thing to reference. Like, Orcish Lumberjack will be being printed in a secret layer sometime soon. Now, fingers crossed, super good luck hopeful, maybe Wizards of the Coast, you know, they finagled another Monty Python secret layer, and it's literally going to be like the Orcish Lumberjack is a reference to the I'm a Lumberjack and I'm Okay song, which is a hilarious classic from yesteryear, right? But I don't know, that's really stretching the hope out, but it's worth putting a notice out for that. Now, speaking of secret layers, Wizards of the Coast has been doing secret layer discounts on some of the previous drops. In the last couple days, they've quietly just reduced the prices on things to move them out. So if you're looking to maybe get some older secret layers, you might actually want to take a peek in there and see if there's something you want. Now, let's talk about the new super drop that they're doing, because Wizards just released a new secret layer super drop today. And it is very, very random. It has a secret layer from Lorwyn in it because Lorwyn was supposed to come out around now, but they kicked it down the road for another year. But they're still like, yo, buy it, chumps. Here you go. We got the Lorwyn. We've got 5 Lorwyn lands, right? Now, we already talked about that, but they've just revealed the bonus card for this secret layer super drop. Take a look at this ugly sack of crap. This is a steering wheel as a Sol Ring. This is the ugliest Sol Ring ever made, and it is getting clowned on so hard, even on the main fanboy Reddit where people are hardcore in Wizard's Corner. Every comment is people trash talking it. There is literally nobody going, yo, this is awesome, I want it. I have not seen any Reddit post over there of any new product where there isn't at least someone going, yeah, I know it's not for you guys, but I absolutely want this. Nobody is saying that, and people are rightfully pointing out, yo, if you somehow want this guy, if there's anybody out there who wants this, just wait and pick it up later. Don't get the bundle. Don't worry about that, because this is going to crater. It's not going to be a big value card. The Avengers had that bonus card, Arcane Signet, that was like the Avengers headquarters or whatever, right? And that got originally listed on secondary market for like $200. Flash forward to now, it's dumped down to like 1/10 the price. It's just, and this one is bound to crater even harder. Who wants this garbage? Look at it. This is hideous. This is the state of Magic the Gathering right now. It's so just nonsense. Anyways, let's turn to talking about the Magic movie news. So it was officially announced. Wizards of the Coast has teamed up with Bibbidi Boo and Gibbidi Goo to make a Magic the Gathering movie and a TV show at the same time. And you just turn around first of all and go, so let me get this straight. You have a Netflix show that has been in development hell for about 5 years now, right? If you didn't know already, like, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I did a video finally saying, yo, the Netflix show is done. We've heard it from people inside that the voice actors even were like, yo, we recorded all of our lines. They had all the scripts written, and this is already done. Like, they already completely canceled it. Why are you asking me about this in an interview? This project's been dead since like 2019, right? So I do a video going, guess what? The Netflix show is dead. And then a week later, Netflix does this announcement, announcing a Magic the Gathering show. You announced it years ago. You've changed producers a number of times, and you've scrapped everything you did before, and you're starting over. So this show hasn't made it to the light of day. And yet we're to believe that Wizards of the Coast is going to make a movie and a television show. So 2 television shows and a movie are in development. This feels baffling because Wizards of the Coast has essentially abandoned their own IP. Stuff like Aetherdrift is a complete, yo, we're going universe beyond crazy nonsense. It's not technically universe beyond, but it's literally vroom, vroom, beep, beep. Like, there's nothing that feels like Magic the Gathering about Aetherdrift. So we're in the era where they're sacrificing their own IP for short-term games, and somehow they're going to use it. We're going to build out a big, impressive world. Like, bro, if you get excited about the idea of a movie and you're thinking, bro, how cool would it be if they did like the Brothers War? They're not going to do anything like that. It's going to be based on the current way that they're doing things. So it's going to be insanely poorly written because all Magic story is complete garbage now. They're putting no effort into making it make any sense. And this movie is virtually guaranteed to never exist. If you're like, yo, I really liked that D&D movie they recently put out. So if they're putting out a Magic movie, maybe it'll be like that. Bad news, friends. The D&D movie is considered a failure because nowadays movies have to make such an insane amount of money to be considered a success that the Dungeons and Dragons movie didn't do well enough. Guess what? When that Dungeons and Dragons movie came out, do you know what beat it in the theaters? Mario. And it's kind of interesting how we have Mario references in this set right now. That was a couple years ago. It takes them a couple years to actually figure out what they're doing. It's almost like they got beat by Mario at the movies and was like, oh, they like Mario better than our properties. Like, let's just make it somehow something that references that and make a crazy race set. Can we maybe get the rights to Mario Kart or something? If you can't beat them, beg them to let them ruin your own property with their IP, right? So That's where we're at right now. The chances of this actually coming to fruition are pretty much zero. And if it somehow does, it's made by a company that's absolutely clueless. Wizards of the Coast doesn't care about story. If you don't believe me, go and read their written stories or go listen to the audiobook versions of them, whatever it is. Go and compare that to the old school lore. Head on over to my Fantasy Geographic channel and check out some old school lore, the Brothers' War or whatever else. There's so much depth to it. It's a million times more enjoyable than the lazy stuff that they throw out. Now, they don't even read it. Wizards of the Coast doesn't read the stories when they get them back from the writers. If they did, they'd be like, yo, you completely contradicted yourself here from one paragraph to another. You literally said there's none of this in the entire world. And then in the next paragraph, this lady and her dad are talking about this thing that you said doesn't exist. So what is even going on now? And you can't expect that. Honestly, when I think about this, what I believe is genuinely going on is Wizards of the Coast is basically pulling on Hasbro's the one pulling the strings. But what they're doing is they're pulling the wool over the eyes of the shareholders to go, check it out. We're doing amazing growth. Things are going the best. Magic the Gathering is our biggest, best property that's making us the most money. So remember how we did G.I. Joe movies and Transformers movies? Remember how good them Transformers movies did at first? And people are like, woo, we're going to do the same thing with Magic the Gathering, our biggest, bestest property. That's just to make it sound like, yo, you definitely want to stay invested with us. You definitely don't want to pull your money out. Things are going to be great for the company. But ultimately, I have no faith that Wizards of the Coast is genuinely capable of delivering a finished product. And if it is finished, it's totally just going to be, whatever, get it out there and hope that it gets some money. This is the same company that when it came to writing the book for War of the Spark, they hired two different writers. One to write the first half, one to write the second half. The person who was writing the first half didn't get it finished in time. So what did Wizards do? They didn't say, let's delay the project. They sold the second half of the book as the book. That's what they did. They started in the middle of the story, sold you the book. I own it. I saw this is what happened in real time. And you're just looking going, wait, why is this incoherent nonsense? And it's because Wizards of the Coast only cares about getting money from us. They don't care about delivering anything remotely like a reasonable product. Now, I would love to live in a world where the movie, the TV show would be something like the Arcane show or the Fallout show, because game properties turned into shows can be done well. But Wizards of the Coast is a laughingstock as a company that is not capable of delivering anything reasonable in the current era. Like, with the exception of Bloomborough, which had a reasonably good story, it wasn't amazing, but it actually made sense all the way through, and you can enjoy it. You can actually get into it. Everything else they've done story-wise for about the last year and a half to 2 years has been complete nonsense, incoherent crap that literally doesn't connect up with itself. Did you know that when we go to Tarkir, we're going to be ending the Dragonstorm arc? I want you to ask yourself a serious question. Did you know we're in the Dragonstorm arc? Do you even know what that means? So in Bloomborough, it meant that we got that crazy Dragonhawk coming through the storms, and it's like, oh, this is kind of cool. Where is it coming from? Like, what sort of portal or whatever is opening up? Because it didn't come through an Omen Path. It came through a dragon storm that opened up into the world. And the dragon that came through was fundamentally altered by Bloomborough's magic. Wow, that's really neat. And then you turn to Duskmourn and you go, so where's the Dragon Arc tie-in? Because they're like, every set's going to have a Dragon Arc tie-in. So what's the Dragon Arc tie-in for Duskmourn? It's when Kaido hallucinates and sees some dragon coming at him, an illusionary dragon breathing fire at him. And then he sees a bunch of dragons setting a house on fire like 1,000,000 years ago in the past. And then that's it. That's supposed to be connecting to the Dragon Arc, but it's like, that's not the current time. And then you move into the Aetherdrift set, and where even is the reference to the Dragonstorm arc? If you know where that is, let me know, because I have no clue. So Tarkir is supposed to be the set where we're getting this payoff for like 1.5 years of being in this arc. This arc has been going on for 1.5 years, and there's nothing to show for it at all whatsoever. On top of that, guess what? Tomorrow, we're getting spoilers for Final Fantasy. But Tarkir is the next set. They have no faith in it, so they're not even showing us what it looks like. Those of you who are like, Please let it be high fantasy, swords and sorcery and dragons. I'm with you. That's what I want. But I am filled with trepidation because they have kept their mouth completely zipped on this. And this is supposed to be the culmination of a multi-set story arc. And this is going to be the last real storyline we get for however long, because the rest of the year is Final Fantasy, it's Spider-Man, it's Avatar, and then we've got Edge of Eternity's the space set. And what is that going to start? A brand new thing? And that's literally just going to be crammed with a bunch of unart they had from Unfinity. So ultimately, there's no way that we're going to get an actual good movie. And I would absolutely love to be wrong about that. If 2 years, 3 years down the road, they put out a movie and it's banger, I will totally eat crow on that and say, yo, for the first time ever, I was wrong. But I'm not going to be. I want to be, but I won't be. So, a reminder again, Chandelar action over on the live stream channel. I'll be there tonight if you want to come by and hang out. Last night, I did a commander cracking, opening up a Fallout Commander deck. So that is also over on the live stream channel if you want to check that out. And there's a 2-hour rant about how bad the Magic the Gathering movie is going to be. So I've got all kinds of deliciousness over on that channel. I'll leave a link for you down in the comments section. Thanks for coming by, my friends. I'll see you all in the next video. Big shout out to my patrons for supporting my channel. You guys rule. Bye for now.